Beautiful. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scotty and Sergio, guys. Sergio, how you doing, mate?
G'day, mate. I'm doing well.
You having a
How are
pretty,
you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's a pretty miserable day here. I'm just in Hunter Valley again. Came from Sydney today. Summer here. You guys are having nicer days in winter over there, hey?
Yeah, I played some 3 hours of tennis today. It was great. You can't even tell it's winter in LA.
Lucky you, lucky you. And I saw the pictures. Everything's obviously still pretty quiet over there at the moment.
Yeah, pretty locked down. Nothing's going on, It's probably going to be a little bit busier and chilly.
Yeah, I can imagine. Everything's starting to open up a little bit here again, except for Melbourne, where the Australian Open tennis is about to be played, and pretty much every player is in a 14-day lockdown because people were coming in with COVID. I think one of the trainers, one of the coaches, and one of the players. So now all of them have to go into quarantine, which is no fun leading up to a major tournament.
Yeah, nuts. I think like Nadal's trainer didn't get allowed in or didn't make the COVID protocol, so he's going to be arriving after the tournament starts. So there's a lot of things going on. You were just talking about Djokovic. What happened with Djokovic?
Yeah, Djokovic is requesting that all the players live in mansions so they can play each other. And I don't know. I saw this thing the other day. Maybe just be grateful that these people are organizing a tournament still in the middle of a pandemic where you're going to make God knows how much money. Even for just coming out, losing that first game, you're still making some money. So,
private court mansions, maybe a little bit too much to ask, no?
Yeah, just a little bit too much. But let's move on, Serge. On today's pod, guys, we're going to run through a couple of the newer injuries, including Portland losing a couple of their starters. James Harden played his first game for the Brooklyn Nets. Your Bulls and my Mavs played. We'll talk about that. All the MLK games, return of a couple of star point guards. And did Kyrie know what he was doing while he was off gallivanting while the trade was happening? And Ben Simmons was possibly told to pack his bags all during that trade period. But Serge, let's get straight into it. Let's get into the injuries. The Blazers, they've lost CJ McCollum with a broken foot, hairline fracture in his foot. He's going to miss at least a month. And Jusif Nurkic is out for 6 to 8 weeks with a fractured wrist. It's really going to test Portland's bench over the next month and a half, Serge.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be tough times for Portland because they've already been struggling on defense so much, and to lose those two pivotal pieces of their starting lineup is just going to be very tough for them to kind of sort themselves out and grow as a unit. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. Those two injuries are pretty going to be pretty detrimental to Portland.
Yeah, I think either of them on their own is a massive loss for the team. But I think with McCollum out, Nurkic is almost like that facilitator from the center position, and they're going to miss a few of those assists. Between them, I think there's 12 assists a game or something like that, and close to 40 points. So they're going to have to rely on Cantor, Rodney Hood, Gary Trent Jr., Carmelo's probably going to have to step up a little bit as well.
Yeah, and Lillard's probably going to have to average 45 if they want to go on a winning record in the time that these two are gone, in my opinion.
Yeah, we're going to have to see beast mode out of Damian Lillard. We know he can do it. Russell Westbrook is out for another 3 to 4 weeks with his quad injury. It's just a little bit worse than it was before. But this is the crazy one. So Caris Levert, who was included in the trade from the Nets, he went to the Pacers. During his team physical, Sergio, they found a mass on his kidney. So he is getting checked out. There's no timetable for his return. But he came out and said that if he wasn't traded, they probably wouldn't have found this, and who knows what would have happened. Things are pretty crazy. Things can change pretty quickly inside your body. So good find. Good time to be traded.
Intense. It's just crazy to see like how things happen for a reason. Obviously, I'm guessing he didn't want to be traded, from a team that's aspiring to get a championship this year. But for his physical health, it was probably in his best interest. It's sometimes with these trades, I was surprised to hear that no one kind of questioned that. Because I remember they were talking the other day how Robert Horry got traded or was going to be traded for Sean Elliott. This is years ago, like 20 years ago. And something happened with the physical that Sean Elliott didn't pass it. So they didn't get traded. They reversed it. Like pretty much everything got approved, like the Harden trade. And then they had to like break it apart and like everyone back to their teams because he didn't pass the physical. But I guess this, the kidney injury, or not injury, but like a situation that he had, I guess didn't apply to that.
Yeah, it's a crazy one, but glad he's all right and he's found out what he needs to, and hopefully he can get the right steps and procedures, and hopefully we can see him back back playing soon because he was having a great season. He's going to be a great addition to that Indiana Pacers team. The 8-4 now, as we're talking Boston Celtics, a game ago, they got Kemba Walker back, their point guard. They needed him with no Tatum out. They have been winning. They're still top of the Eastern Conference. He came back in a 30-point loss to the New York Knicks. Didn't have a great game, 9 points, 3 of 13 from the field. But good to see Kemba back after having the same thing we were talking about that Kobe used to have, that plasma enrichment that gets into his knees.
Yeah, so I think that what they do is they go and they kind of just get new cells put into their knees. That's like the new technology. I think Kobe was going to Germany a few years ago to do that. But with Kemba, it's a serious injury, so we want to see how he kind of evolves. It's gonna be a slow process. I don't think he's gonna be himself for another month to 6 weeks, but they're gonna need him now with Tatum, not playing a few games and he carrying a big part of the scoring load. Other Celtics are gonna need to step it up.
Yeah, fortunately, they've got themselves already to 8-4, so they're top of the East. So he can work his way back into form, Kemba Walker. And it helps that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown really took steps forward this year and led this team. And now Kemba can slowly make his way back. And he's got some good backups there in Jeff Teague and Peyton Pritchard. So he doesn't have to play too many minutes.
Yeah, slowly. And also it's great that, Taco Fall has developed a long-range game. I don't know if you saw that.
He can probably nearly dunk it from the three-point line. He's that big. But yeah, good to see him out there, man. Everyone's happy to see Taco. The crowd, no crowds obviously, but I tune into a few Boston games, and if I'm watching garbage time, man, I want to see some Taco.
There's few more exciting moments in watching the crowd go nuts and demand Taco Fall at the end of the game and watching Brad feel it.
Go.
All right,
Moving on, Serge, we had your Chicago Bulls went to Dallas to take on my Dallas Mavericks a couple of days ago, and apart from Luka having a great game, he had 36 points, 16 rebounds, and 15 assists, and 30 of those points coming in the first half. The Bulls smashed them by 16 points. Dallas really weren't in it in the second half, with Markkanen having a great game, 29 points and 10 rebounds. The Mavs were missing 6 rotation and starters, but so are other teams. And there's really no excuses to lose games these days. Unless you're down to 7 players, you have to play a few rookies, but it's a good win, and your Bulls are starting to turn around as my Mavs are starting to decline a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Mavs had a lot of COVID players out, or players out for COVID.
Half their team is out, and Tim Hardaway missed that game.
You're still getting Porzingis worked into the game, but Luka, yeah, I mean, 30 points in the first half, and then kind of not really adding too much to the team in the second half. It's just a little bit unusual. I know he wants to get other people involved, but when you're having a hot night like that, just shoot the ball.
Yeah, it's not even shoot the ball. Get to the rim. Luka gets fouled pretty much every time he goes to the rim. He's so crafty with his Euro steps and pretending to pass the ball behind people back. He tricks people. When Luka's playing that well, he got 30 points in the second half. If I'm the coach, Rick Carlisle, you just go attack the paint the whole second half and then look for people for three-pointers and cutting, but get yourself 50 points. He's never had a 50-point game. I'm sure one's going to come this year at some point once he finally realizes to.
Yeah. We also have to remember that there's a lot of pressure on him. Being the number one odds, I think, to be MVP this year. So there's a lot of pressure. Porzingis was out. So I think it's been kind of weighing on him. And we can't forget that the guy's 22 years old. So yeah, he could use some help and some healthy players to go along with that.
Yeah, you always forget he's 22. You look at him and go, "You at least 30." But
he plays like he's in the prime of his life, and prime of the game.
James Harden played his first game the other day for the Nets against the Orlando Magic. They got a win, and he recorded a massive triple-double. I think Kevin Durant had 42 points as well, maybe 9 assists. So pretty scary start and pretty ominous looking there for the Nets, who obviously don't have Kyrie Irving back yet. But James Harden, man, he is a beast. He is a beast.
That was an insane game. I mean, those guys, the first thing you're doing is looking at them to see how they coexist. Who's going to hog the ball more? Who's going to put up more shots? And it seemed like they were taking turns, but it was organic. And There was it was almost like they had played on Oklahoma last year. It was really a sight to watch. And Harden, I don't know how that happens, but suddenly he didn't look like McHarden himself. It's like he just like hit a sauna and like dropped like a quick 5Ks. I don't know how that happens.
I was reading people's comments saying that he's been wearing a fat suit the whole time he was in Houston to try and push out the Professor Clump. But he has he's definitely shed the fat suit or the fat, or he stopped eating McDonald's since he's been in Brooklyn. He looked great the other night. First quarter, he had, I think, 5 or 6 assists. He was looking for his teammates. And I don't know, that's a great way to start with a new team. Show them that you want to share the ball and you're not going to dribble the ball for 23 seconds every possession. But yeah, it was a great start. We'll talk about them a little bit more in a second as we just quickly run through the scores from MLK Day. Huge day for the States. It's a great day for the world, to be honest, and especially for the NBA. Like the NBA players, they really get into this. It's a huge day for a lot of the athletes. And the first game we had the New York Knicks take on the Magic in New York. New York got another win, 91-84. The T-Wolves went to Atlanta. They lost 108-97. They're still without Cat, who has COVID. The Spurs went to Portland. They smashed the Trailblazers 125-104. We then had the Suns travel to Memphis. Memphis won 108-104. That was Ja Morant's first game back. He didn't miss a beat, Serge. 17 points, 10 assists. They only took 10 field goals, hit 5 of them. And we'll just pause for a second because the Grizz have won 5 in a row and they're back in playoffs.
Yeah, that team looks great. And Ja looked great. He, as you said, he looked like he didn't miss a beat. He didn't overdo it. He took only 10 shots, but he was efficient. And he looked very athletic, like driving and not scared of any type of injury.
It's amazing because Ja Morant, for a guy in his second year, he's not a volume shooter and he still gets his points. He still gets his assists. He doesn't have a lot of turnovers in his game. For a guy so young, like you don't see guys be this, what's the word I'm looking for? This head steady. I think that's a word I just made up. Yeah,
a lot of these guys are, they're so talented when they play in high school and then in college that they're used to chucking up as many shots as they feel like. But to have that efficiency, and you see it also with a second-year player like Zion, the guy's taking 15 shots in a game, he's making 13 of them, 12. The guys that are really valuing that PER, those numbers, and following kind of like maybe Durant's example.
Yeah, it's just the league is a lot of teams are shooting 45 to 53 pointers a game, and there's a lot of smart guys who realize you don't have to do that. You if there's an open three or it's a good time to take a three, you shoot it. But Ja Morant doesn't really force those shots, like you're saying. Zion doesn't either. Zion they just got smashed actually by the Jazz. I just watched that game, but Zion does his best work in the paint and just stay in the paint. Speed.
It's bully ball.
Yeah, 100%. He was bullying Rudy Gobert half the game I just watched. So Gobert's got another foot nearly on him, but about 100 pounds less. There other games on MLK Day, the Mavs traveled to Tampa to take on the Raptors. They got absolutely smoked, 116-93. The Pistons went to Miami. They were up most of this game, but they lost in the final quarter. Miami needed that win. They won 113-107. The Rockets, with Victor Oladipo playing his first game, went to your hometown Chicago Bulls. They lost 120-125. The Bulls getting the win, but Oladipo, good first game for the Rockets. 32 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists.
Yeah, I think he clocked up there in some of the top debuts for a new team ever, in like top 5 or top 6 or something. No, great. It's good to see Oladipo. I mean, he was playing all right for Indiana, but there was a lot of rumors with Oladipo wanting to leave and already had talking to other players. So it's good to see him in a new place where it's a brand new start. And also Houston is kind of refreshed now that they got rid of that whole Harden problem. So, it's going to be good to see how they gel with Wall, Boogie, and all the rest of the team.
It's crazy because I'm already hearing things that he's already telling Houston that he doesn't want to be there next year. I'm like, man, that's a bit premature. Like, I think he wants to go to Miami or something. That's where he really wants to go. But see how the season goes.
That was rumored. And I was kind of hoping, because I think Miami just needs another piece. With everyone getting stronger in the East, I don't think they're going to make the same noise they made last year.
I think Miami's best idea is to get him in free agency anyway, unless Houston try and trade him at the end of the season and they try and get something for him as well. I think he can get traded, not just yet, but he can get traded again later on in the season. But we'll keep an eye on that. On MLK Day, Serge, there were two really big games. Let's talk first. The Golden State Warriors went to LA to take on the Lakers. The Lakers were up 67-49 at halftime and even had a 19-point lead in the final quarter. They lost this game 115-113, with Golden State getting smashed on the boards 50-32, but they still came up, even with not the greatest game from Steph Curry, who shot pretty poorly. It's a good win for the Warriors, Serge.
Great win. You know, that team, it was a great team win. You had Kelly Oubre playing great, Wiggins, all really strong on defense. And that's where you can notice the addition of Draymond Green. He's like barking at these guys, pulling them aside. I think he was wearing a mic last night. You could tell when he pulls aside Wiseman and he's just telling him like, do this. And he's like explaining to him, look, when you got this guy on you, I want you to score, like not letting anything go by. And really training these guys to, know what it is to be championship pedigree. So I think that's making a massive difference. And the game last night was phenomenal. They were down by 19 at some point, but they never let up. They still have that power from outside. They have a lot of still, even without Clay, a lot of good 3-point shooters.
Man, they had a lot of help from their bench here. I'm just reading as well. Eric Pascal, man, he had 19 points in this game on 8 of 11 shooting. He was taking on Montrezl Harrell pretty much all game. He was in his face. He was pretty much trying to go for layups and dunks on him, and he succeeded. Brad Wanamaker had a pretty good game. Kevin Looney. James Wiseman had a bit of a shocker. He got demolished in this game, but he didn't play more than 13 minutes.
Yeah, Wiseman was doing quite well at the beginning, but he picked up his 5th foul early in the third quarter. So I think Steve Kerr kind of gave the rookie a little bit of a timeout, put him out for the rest of the game. But Pascal gets the MVP from the bench. He played an amazing, being physical, going hard in the paint. And also, as you were mentioning, with the rebounds.
Yeah, their bench played really, really well last night. And you have to against a Lakers team with, who they got? Sorry, coming off the bench, Montrezl Harrell, Wes Matthews, Alex Caruso. They got some good guys. Taylor Horton-Tucker. They got these guys coming off the bench. So you have to – it's pretty hard to beat the Lakers starters a lot of times. So you got to do some work on the bench. And they did that. And that's a huge win for the Warriors. So a couple of weeks ago, Serge, we were talking like the Warriors, they're going to struggle to make the playoffs. And here they are playing pretty well again.
Yeah, we've gone up and down. At least I have. I think at the beginning of the season, I was high on the Warriors. Because I think Kelly Oubre has been a player who's increased his numbers every year. And I kind of felt that they would come together. I'm happy to see them coming together, even when Steph's on a bad night, which that makes the win even better. But now they've defeated both the Clippers and the Lakers in a couple of weeks. So
100%, mate. And the big game yesterday, if you thought the Warriors-Lakers was a good game, this game was sensational. We had the Milwaukee Bucks travel to Brooklyn to take on the Nets. Oh, what a game. The final score, 125 to the Nets, 123 to the Bucks. Kevin Durant had pretty much a game-winning shot towards the end of it. Right near the end of the game, we're looking at pretty much a possible Eastern Conference Finals matchup. James Harden had 34 points, 12 assists. The biggest thing for me, Serge, in this game was that final shot where Kevin Durant made. You have to put your best defenders on Harden, Kevin Durant. You let these other guys make a shot to win the game. And Giannis, in the last couple of plays of the game, he was marking Jeff Green. Why?
Giannis, at the end of the game, has one task. What is it?
Stay on Kevin Durant.
Exactly. He's the only guy who can match Kevin Durant's length and is a defensive player of the year. There's no other player he should be guarding.
100%. You have Drew Holiday there. Let him stay on James Harden or Middleton. They've got a really good defensive. They're big three, Milwaukee. They're great defensively, and they came up against the Nets team, who apparently don't play a lot of defense. But as they always say, great offense beats great defense, and it just won out in this game.
If you think of it that way, the Bucks are probably the best team. Arguably the best team in the East that matches up defensively with Brooklyn, because you have, as you said, Holiday, who got Kyrie, Middleton, put him on Harden, and then you got the defensive player of the year on Durant. So, I mean, those three are almost impossible to guard. But if you want any team guarding them, this is one of probably your best options.
Yeah, they pretty much dared Giannis to shoot from the outside and take jumpers, and he did. He fell for it. And for me, the Bucks don't win a lot of games if Giannis has to find a way to get into the paint. It takes 3 strides to get in there from the 3-point line, or barely that. So you got to find a way to get in there. You take a couple shots, but you can't settle with too many 3-pointers if you're Giannis.
That's what's concerning about the Bucks. They're making the same mistakes they made last season in the playoffs. And also, the other thing that's concerning is you can't shoot 10% from the free throw line if you're a superstar like Giannis.
I watched that game the other day, the Dallas Milwaukee game, and it was pretty much who could miss more free throws in this game between Luka Doncic and Giannis.
And Luka, what's up with Luka?
Yeah, Luka's free throw percentage started really good this season. It's just falling off. I think just he's a bit tired at the moment with.
I think he's run down. That's what I think.
He's run down. Dallas need a few start to get a few of these guys back, but yeah, Milwaukee for me, like this loss, it's a close game against a really good team. But again, this good team you're playing is missing one of their big 3 players. And a lot of this comes down on Bud for me. Mike Budenholzer, I feel like this is his last season where he has a chance. Unless they get to the finals, I think you got to start looking for someone who just does things differently on offense. Puts Giannis in better positions in the playoffs.
The team, you couldn't ask for more, like a better assembly of that team. So I think, as you said, this is his last shot. They're going to keep the base of this team will stay next year for sure. I think the coach is going to be the one who gets the cut if they don't get further this year.
And sometimes you think that the coaches are unfairly sacked or it all falls on their shoulders. But at the moment, it just feels like this team just can't get past the Eastern Conference Finals. And I think this year, with the Brooklyn looking as good as they are, it might be the same story. Saying that, Serge, Kyrie Irving didn't play. We'll move on to a little bit of random news. I've been reading things that maybe Kyrie Irving purposefully left the Nets because he knew this trade was coming and he did not want to be included in these trades, either going to Pacers or Houston or wherever he was going to go. So a lot of people saying that he was pretty smart. He didn't get traded anywhere, and he's staying where he wants to be. But I think, in my opinion, I think Kevin Durant didn't want Kyrie to go. I think he wanted to build that big 3.
It's hard to say. I've been hearing a lot of noise from both sides. A lot of people have been saying that Kevin Durant doesn't really have the same relationship that he used to with Kyrie, and that the communication has been kind of stalled during Kyrie's absence. I do think that perhaps there was noise about Kyrie getting traded and he conveniently stepped out. I can't put it on him. I saw the interview today, or his statement today. He said it was family issues and he didn't want to talk about it. So, you want to give the guy benefit of the doubt. I just, I'm never going to agree with a professional not letting his team know in the appropriate fashion or manner, and, keeping everyone up to par, because you're game planning for a game every night. And you can't have those like doubts of whether this guy, where is this guy? Is he going to play? Do we need his backup? The players need to be mentally psyched and mentally ready to be effective every night. So that's my main issue with Kyrie. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
I know the guy means well. He might be a little bit esoteric, but that's each to their own.
Yeah, it's actually, I read today that he's back with the Nets, and he apologized to his team and coaches and just said that he needed a break. His brain was just fried. He needed a little break. It's pretty early on in the season, but it has been a pretty crazy period, and we know how involved he is in the community and a lot of the stuff happening in Washington, D.C. I think that's been on his mind as well. And
so it came out in the press today that he bought George Floyd's family a house.
Yeah, he's amazing. He does some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
There's no denying. Kyrie's a really good person.
I don't doubt that, but also the timing of that coming out in the press, it's just weird.
Bit funky. But it's a great act. And Kyrie, I hope you keep doing these amazing things, because you're a role model. You're an amazing role model on helping people if you have the chance. But we want to see you play basketball, so hurry up and get back. He will be back in the next couple of days. Serge, let's finish it there. We're going to talk about some of Ben Simmons, but we'll have a chat about it on the next pod. Thanks for joining again, guys. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube. We're just getting ready to start getting onto Spotify in case you don't have the ability to look at our pretty faces every couple of days. Join our Facebook group. It's in the information. Serge, any final words?
Nope.
Words of wisdom? Nope.
No wisdom today.
Beautiful. Well, mate, you have a great day. You guys enjoy your afternoon, your morning, your night, wherever you're listening. Stay safe. Peace out, Serge. We'll speak tomorrow, brother.
Later, brother.
Peace. Thanks, guys.